Hello and welcome back to the Angela Makes podcast. This is episode 19 and I am Angela and I bring you this podcast from just outside Belfast in Northern Ireland. So this last couple of weeks I have been working on quite a number of different things. So today there will be a little bit of knitting, some updates on the embroidery that I talked about last time. But as I was getting all of the embroidery threads together and trying to sort them, I came across some of my old cross stitches, and they aren't even that old actually. So I've an update on my cross stitch, and then I was sewing because I have booked a last minute trip back to Disneyland Paris. It's one of our family's favourite places to go, and I wanted a couple of project bags to take with me. So there's a little bit of sewing also. Okay, so I have only one finished knitting object, so I'm going to start with that, and I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time on it because you've already seen them and I've talked about them. And they are the Kinbane Socks. So I finished the second one, and this was in the stitch colourway. Just to let you see the pattern there on those. So even with a more variegated yarn, you can still see the design of this particular pattern, but they're for Sophie. So I now have two socks, but they're my only finished object. Now, while I have my sock blocker out, so these are the Angela Makes sock blockers. This one doesn't match. I have a purple toe. What I wanted to comment on, and I can't find what I'm looking for, I had run out of this pink PLA, which was called Magenta, and I ordered new Magenta. However, it's a slightly different brand, was the only one I could get, and as you can see the colours are different. Now I still really like this one. Hopefully that's coming up okay. As I said before, it's difficult to get these colours to come up. So this is still called Magenta. I have taken new pictures and I have updated my Etsy, but just to show you on screen, that's the difference. So this was very pink magenta and this is a deeper magenta, even though they're both called Magenta. So I've updated the pictures with these, with this colour, and I now I've bought extra spools of the PLA to make sure that I can keep this one in stock for a bit. And as I've said before, my intention is that come autumn, I'm going to tone the colours down a little. I've already a couple chosen. I'll probably always keep my purple because I love purple and it's in my logo. But yeah, just to let you see the difference in those magentas if you're ordering either this is the sock ruler or the sock blocker. So just while I had that out, I wanted to say that. So that's my only finished object. I finished the socks, I got those off my needles, and then what I also wanted to do, so with the pattern before it comes out, I wanted to test it using a high street yarn. So I have chosen the Stylecraft Recreate, and this is the Stylecraft Recreate. The Stylecraft Recreate is 30% polyester, 40% wool and 30% acrylic. And this is how far I've got. So I have my back neck increases done, and I'm on the finishing off the circumference of the neck. So haven't very much done, but I think the definition of this is coming up beautifully. And it's really soft and squishy. The yarn is actually working with the pattern really nicely. So yeah, I cast on that. I'm using 3.75 for these just because with the Stylecraft Recreate, I've used it before. I used it for my Whitmore and I used it for, oh I can't remember, I've used it a couple of times. But I really liked it, but I knew that I needed to go down to 3.75 and I'm glad I did rather than the 4. But I think that's part of the process in working out what needles you like with a particular yarn to get the fabric that you want. So as I say, that's the Kinbane that will be coming out in the middle of July, and I started that, which I will keep working on. So then my other whip that I have been working on, I have been talking about this for a while. I really wanted cotton as a sleeveless top or a vest, and I had tried a couple of different ones. I tried the Tolsta by the Crabea, but I thought the gauge for me with cotton yarn wasn't working. The other one that I've decided to go with is the Thea top by Suzanne Mueller, and it is a 20 stitch gauge by 26 rows. It uses Sandys Garden Lena. I am using Stylecraft bamboo. Well, it's a cotton bamboo blend, and Suzanne suggests a 4mm needle. I am again using 3.75 because I did try the gauge swatch with this and I needed the 3.75 to get the 20 stitches to the 26 rows. Now my main problem with this, with cotton yarn, not with the top, my main issue was that I felt like I couldn't knit. Like everything was uneven, and that my stitch definition was all over the place. And then I had a bit of a chat with Ruth from Ruth Loves to Knit. She had also tried cotton, and I think she ripped it back as well. I think she'd mentioned it in an Instagram post a little while ago. And then I was chatting to her about it when I seen her at the Bristol, the Big Flock. And again, I hate being beaten by a yarn. So I decided to give it another go, but at this smaller gauge. So 20 stitches. And I'm persevering with this. It is still not what I would like. So, I mean, I can see there's pockets all over this, but I'm not too far from being done. I have 8 inches of the body done. I really enjoyed the construction of this, I have to say. Really, really liked it. The instructions were really nice. Really simple and easy to follow. Now, what I'd also realised was the top bit of this, I had used yarn that I'd ripped out before. Now that I am down here, it is this bit here was new yarn, it hadn't been used before, and it's definitely smoother. So, a couple of things. I was watching a podcast during the week, and I can't remember who it was now. If I remember, I'll put it in the show notes. And they were talking about cotton yarn and being mindful that it wasn't as flexible and as malleable as wool. Cotton yarn has no stretch in it, and sometimes that's where you have to be so mindful of your tension. If you're mindlessly watching YouTube podcasts, which is what I tend to do when I'm knitting, and if you're just mindlessly knitting in the round, if you've gone a little bit looser, then that's okay. So if you knit and you always have perfect tension, cotton yarn's probably working okay for you. But I do definitely, there's times I'm just mindlessly knitting and I maybe could be a bit more mindful of how my tension is, because that's certainly something that I've noticed here. If I'm sitting just knitting in the round and I've been watching something, I can slip into not as tight knitting, and my knitting is by no means tight. It is pretty normal, I want to say, but I have been trying to work on my tension. So I think that's the biggest part of the problem, that when I am working with this, and particularly with cotton, I have to remember to think about what I'm knitting, and even though it's in the round, that's perfectly okay, but just to remember to bear in mind my tension, that I'm not letting myself go a little bit too loose, because even if it's only a couple of stitches, if it's wool, that will block out. That works, it's fine, but with this, it's not as easy. So this is as good as it gets. I'm still not 100% happy with, as I say, there's pockets all over that where I can see it in the camera now, and I'll probably see it better in editing, that it just looks like I can't knit, but I'm going to persevere, because I really want the top and I really want to crack this. So this is the Stylecraft. Let me see if I can find Okay, this ball is in an absolute mess. I'm going to have to wind it up again afterwards, but so that's the ball. Don't know how we've got to that point, but I'll wind that up afterwards. So this is the Stylecraft Naturals Bamboo Cotton. 60% bamboo, 40% cotton. And the colour of this is rose, shade 7165. Now I bought this a good 3 summers ago, I would say maybe 4 actually. But yes, they still do the Stylecraft Naturals bamboo and cotton, 100 grams, and you get 250 meters in 100 grams. So I'm going to keep going with that. I've just realised I've dropped stitches. I thought I'd my stitch stoppers on and I didn't. So I'm going to keep going with that. I've only a couple of inches left and then the ribbing around the neck and the sleeves to do, but I am enjoying that, as I said. And I think that the tension is definitely helping, or the gauge. That gauge is definitely helping in terms of my knitting. I don't think with cotton yarn a 17 stitch gauge was working for me at all. So that's my Thea top by Suzanne Muller. It is currently £4.16 or €4.62 on Ravelry, and it's a really nice pattern. I really like it. And this is one of my new bags. So I decided to do a zipper bag. I have plenty of other bags, but I decided to do a big zipper bag for taking with me. I just find it easier on the plane. So this is Mickey Mouse fabric that I got out of Hobbycraft a couple of years ago, but I hadn't used the fat quarters. So this was 1 fat quarter of the Mickey Mouse and 1 fat quarter. Now I've still good bits left of both of these fabrics to do even like a notions pouch. I put the zip and a wee tag on the end, and then the inside I just use a natural cotton. So that's that bag, but it's huge, as you can see. But also handy for throwing in and out of your travel bags. So that's the Thea top by Suzanne Muller. The other thing that I had been working on was another pair of Kinbane socks. So once I'd finished Sophie's, I cast on David's. So this was the yarn that I got from Big Flock in Bristol, and this is Pebbles on a Beach by Bird Street. It is divine. It's their zebra sock. I'm not sure if you can see it. I think you can. It's their zebra sock. It's lovely. It is so nice to work with. And I haven't got very far, but that's what I've got. Now this is one of the projects that I might take with me when I'm going away, because socks are always so nice to have with you. But again, that's knitting up beautifully. So on this one I've done a 2x2 rib for him, and then I've gone into the pattern. The pattern written is a twisted rib, 1x1 twisted rib. But I decided to do something a little bit different. So that's that, and as I say, I absolutely love it. Couple of things. I have printed a number of different bits and pieces, but I'm really enjoying using them. So this is a holder for your yarn. So again, it goes down. Now I didn't design this and neither did David. I've printed this off one of the free templates, but you put it up through your cake, and then I have made little wrist so that I can hang that over my wrist, and then I can knit and it's been really useful. It just sits and spins. It gets tangled every now and again, but I just loosen it. It's normally because I'm sitting with my arm on it, but this is really useful for knitting socks, and again will be useful for the plane, that it's not going to roll halfway down the plane on me. So that is one of the things that I had printed, as I say, not our design, but it has been really, really useful. And then the other thing that I printed that I have been finding really useful, I printed a massive yarn bowl. This was the last bit of the pink that I had left, but it wasn't enough for the ruler. So I decided to print a yarn bowl, and again, it has saved the wool running all over the floor, or all over the floor in here. So I've been enjoying using the yarn bowl too, just to keep things a little bit more together. So Thea top, Kinbane socks, they're really the only things that I've been working on, because I actually want the Thea top to take with me. So I've almost been working on it exclusively. And I'm hoping to finish it tonight, tomorrow, but we'll see. If it doesn't come with me, that's okay too. With the Thea top, as I said, I really like it, and when I was looking through my yarn stash, I have this Kandou yarn, and it is from Lion brand, I believe. Yeah, Lion brand. It is 51% cotton and 49% rayon from bamboo. 100 grams, 212 meters, and that's the colour. So it's like a mushroomy, grey, beige kind of colour. Does it give the colour? It says silver argent. It looks a little bit more mushroomy to me than silver, but it might be different when I knit it up. I have had this. This was on sale in a wool shop in Belfast that was shutting down, and I got 8 or 9 balls of this. It must be easy 8-9 years ago, and I've never used it. So when I found this, I thought actually the Thea top would be really nice, and that would give me another kind of neutral colour to wear. So that's my next. I'm thinking that I will use these and do another Thea top, but I want to finish the one that I have first. But a couple of those for the summer would just be really useful for with jeans or shorts, just to keep me cool. So in terms of an update on the embroidery, I had shown you the mindful mantra ones that I had completed the last time. Now this is the bigger one. I'll put a picture up of the smaller ones that I'd completed. I did 3 of those in the end for teacher presents, and the teachers all came out and were very grateful for the gift, the thoughtful gift. And I think most of the teachers actually do some sort of crocheting or knitting themselves, so they did appreciate the time that it had taken. But I really, really enjoyed those. So as I said, what I then decided to do was to organise my skeins of embroidery thread. And as I was looking for those, I found my cross stitch. So one of the things that I had done, Sophie, my daughter, had really liked Taylor Swift. We listened to her quite a while in the car now. She kind of goes in cycles, so we're on to a lot of Disney and a lot of other bits and pieces at the minute. But at that stage, Caterpillar Cross Stitch had brought out the Stitching Swiftly era. So this was the bag. I ordered the full set, where you got a number of different patterns, which were basically one line from the song, different songs. And she explained that she had really liked Taylor, and had sang so many of her songs. So the ones that had meant most to her or her family, or the ones that they enjoyed singing together, she had done into cross stitches. So you got a booklet with the 5 or 6 designs in it. It could have been more actually. And then no, you didn't get any Ada or any of the flosses, but you did get the bag and you did get a needle minder in the set. So I had started this and then left it sitting. So I have gone back to it now. I also treated myself to one of the nudge frames. So it's more of a square frame. I'm going to move the needle minder right in the middle. So that's the needle minder that came with it. So again, it's similar to what's on the bag, but this is really lovely. So these are all DMC threads, and I've only a couple of bits to finish down here. So that is almost finished, and then I'll frame that up. I've really enjoyed getting back into cross stitch. As I say, I used to do it growing up a lot. Projects did sit for years and years and years, but I did enjoy doing it. I am struggling with eyesight. I think I had mentioned that before, but I had got one of the neck lights and they are brilliant for the embroidery and the cross stitch. Don't need it so much for knitting unless I make a mistake, but for this, the neck light is absolutely brilliant. So that's, remember it, I remember it, the eyes stuck, I remember it all too well, and I'm nearly finished that one. So as I say, there's a few from each of the different albums, but I really like that this is the pouch. You can carry the whole thing about in there, and you've everything that you need. So I've been working away on that as well. And then the last time I had also mentioned the Harry Potter one. So for anyone who is as Harry Potter mad as I am, this was the Harry Potter book that started the whole embroidery off. So this is the Marauder's map, the Mischief Managed. This is the crest of the school, but then you get all of these designs in this book as well. Now within the kit you only got enough to make 2. Well, you only got enough fabric for 2, but you got all of the designs that you needed. So basically these are iron on, so you iron them on to your fabric, and I had started the Mischief Managed one. So you can see there that when you iron it on, you have everything that you need. What I'm hoping is that you won't see much of it after. So I'm trying to be, with the other embroidery that I did, when you put, because I used a friction marker, once you ironed it, any pen that was visible disappeared. This may not, so I'm being much more mindful to go over the edges, although all of this bit is filled in. So that's the only red. It's a really deep red. The rest of this is all done in a purple outline. So again, I'm hoping that if I use a thick enough, if I maybe use, I don't want to use too thick because then you won't see the bits of the castle around the top, but 2 or 3 that hopefully will cover that grey. But this is, it's by Deborah Wilding. I haven't looked up to see if it's available, but this book is by Deborah Wilding, and it's fantastic. You get to see the finished in a bigger picture inside. It takes you through each of the stages and what stitches you should use. It tells you if it is an easy or an intermediate pattern, and it's just lovely. So even though you only get the fabric for 2 in this particular kit, you get everything you need to make all of them. So then if you had more, I have fabric here, so I can use my fabric and I continue because I have enough embroidery threads as well. So I probably will attempt all of them, but again, 20 years maybe. But I have been keeping that in one of the zipper pouches because again, I find that easier. I'm not losing any embroidery threads and it's completely zipped in. And then finally, I made another pouch. So this is from Kandou. This is in Kandou fabric from Hobbycraft again. And I have a couple of bits in here to take away to do for Disney. They're not for Disney. So the one that I had done, I had shown this in the last one, the Lady Moon. So I now have it all drawn out, and I think that will be something for the plane. So far, I have never got stopped on the plane with, I've never got stopped with knitting needles. I've never got stopped with embroidery or sewing. I would have taken cross stitch in the past. The one thing that I do is to take floss with me. Now there still is floss in this one, but at least then you have the little to cut your threads. So, and I've never, again, you're allowed floss on the plane. So I've never been stopped. So I always keep a floss in my bag so that I have scissors if I need them. But that was the other bag. So I used, for these bags, for both of the bags, I used the Kandou zipper pouch, I think they're called, and you get 5 different sizes in the pattern. Now this is the largest size. I then made this one bigger myself, now not much bigger, but it is a little bit wider. It's no deeper. In fact, the other one looks deeper the way I'm holding it, but it's not. But it is the Mickey Mouse, or the Mickey Mouse one is a little bit wider because I wanted to put a jumper project in it. So that's what's been keeping me busy. I have been sewing, I have been cross stitching, I haven't embroidered. I finished off the teacher's gifts probably the night that I podcast the last time. And then I haven't embroidered since. I did draw out those patterns for taking with me. We're leaving in the next week or in a bit, but and I wanted everything organised. So the only other thing that I was going to show you was how I have organised my embroidery threads, just in case you're interested. So back when I had started cross stitching, I had these wee paper templates to wrap the floss around. I put the brand and the colour code at the top, and that's how I had everything organised. Because of the 3D printer, I have now printed the wee templates. Again, David created the design for me. I had printed a few that other people had done. They were too thick and also used up too much PLA, so we tried to be very mindful of the PLA that we were using, so those have been really useful. I then use my label maker, my brother label maker, and I'm now putting the name and the code on the top. So yes, it takes a little bit of time, but some of those other ones I have had for 30 years. So I can't imagine that I am going to need to do this very often. So it was a nice afternoon spent organising all my threads. And I put the anchor at one side and the DMC at the other. And this is my box. So this is all of my threads, which is much easier to store than yarn, can I say? So this is all of my threads. I have all of my DMC. What I reel are all of my anchor at this side and all of my DMC at this side. Whenever I was actively cross-stitching through my teens and into my early 20s, anchor was what I seemed to use, but lately, whenever I have tried to top up some of my colours for the other projects that I've been doing, so the likes of the Taylor Swift one, and the ones that I was doing, the Lady Moon one, the colours that I needed all seemed to be DMC. So as I say, anchor was where I started, and I know there's the conversion charts, but when I looked up the colours that I needed, I had nothing that was really suitable. So a A lot of the DMC at this side are all new. So you can see I've also, the green that I showed you, I've purple in here, I've pink, I've gold. I have all different colours of PLA because I'm not that bothered. So whatever little bits are left on the end of reels, I print off a sheet of, or I print off a plate of these templates. But I think that's about me. I don't want to go to a second box of embroidery threads. So most of what I have here now allows me to convert between DMC and Anchor. So that's what I have been doing. I have been thoroughly enjoying the stitching and getting back into it. The Thea top, absolutely recommend. Brilliant, brilliant pattern. And I've tried it on a couple of times and I'm liking the fit so far. So the only other thing that I have to go over is a couple of acquisitions. So you know that I had been getting the club from Beehive Yarns. So if, what are we at? We're on the 5th of June. If you don't have your Beehive Yarns, then you might want to either stop watching or stop watching for a couple of minutes, and then I will, so that you don't see if you haven't. Hopefully you've got your yarn by now. So this is the June, this is the Season Spell Yarn Club. I get the Audrey Classic Sock, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, 50 grams in each skein, and 212 meters per 50 gram. And this is June's colorway. So it's really, really lovely. This was the May one. So we've gone a little bit more beachy here, but it's still really nicely toned in. And if I hold them all together, because my daughter came in the other day and she went, oh, they're nice. And they are lovely whenever you see them all together. I am so tempted to a blanket. So tempted, because I had been thinking, and I probably said this the last time, possibly doing the Wool and Pine Sorrel, or the, what was the other one? Light Bright. But honestly, when I see this, I'm really tempted to a blanket. So I'm going to wait. We're at June. I'm going to continue because I'm loving these colours. Absolutely loving these colours. And I'm going to wait and see what the next couple of sets are before I decide. So that was those. And then I had also signed up for the Wool Kitchen. So it's their botanical collection, the Floral Fade 2. And so for the latest edition, we're returning to the wonderful world of plants, designed to create a beautiful floral inspired fade. Each skein will follow on one to another, enabling you to create a bigger project or enjoy individually. So pick your base. You have 4-ply sock set, luxury merino silk, or our classic BFL DK. Starting in June and ending in November 2025, you'll receive your yarn at the end of each month. Join us for one edition or an ongoing subscription. Payments are taken at the beginning of each month. And this is the colour card. So this is June, and this is the yarn. Now you can really see those colours coming out in that. So I chose the BFL Superwash DK, 225 meters per 100 grams. This one is called Lotus Flower, and it's beautiful. Probably a lot brighter than what I would normally, I should have said if you haven't received yours. Sorry if you didn't want to see this. It's a lot brighter in places than what I would be used to. And when I opened it, I immediately thought of Ruth from Ruth Loves to Knit, because she loves her yellow. But when you see this colour, I'm really excited for what's going to come next. And again, they had suggested that you think about this in terms of a light bright by Wool & Pine, or you could do one of the sorrels, because the sorrels come in a multitude of Aran, DK, 4-ply. There's quite a few variations of those. So this is the other club that I have joined. I won't be joining anymore, and I'm not buying an Advent this year. This is going to be mine. Now, with this came the Advent for Wool Kitchen, and it looks gorgeous. So if you pop onto their Instagram, you will see their colourways. I had met the girls at Big Flock in Bristol, and they're just so lovely. Helen in particular, we had a really good chat over dinner, and it was just lovely. It's lovely to meet people who are the wool that you buy. This was the first time that I had come across the Wool Kitchen, really, but I'm really enjoying this colour because it's something a little bit different. I knew what I was getting because she had already shared this colour chart, so I'm really interested to see what's coming next month. And then there was one other purchase that I made that I couldn't resist, and that was another bag from Conchetta. So I had been watching her Instagram, or there was a post came up on her Instagram, and she prints fabric, hand stamps it, and look, isn't this gorgeous? Now, it's more of a sock bag, that's absolutely fine, but it's stunning. I wasn't going to order any more bags because, well, I can make them, but this fabric and the way that Conchetta makes her bags, they're absolutely beautiful. So it's the same on the front and on the back, or the back and the front, whatever way you want to look at it. The inside is plain, but she does have her stamp on the inside, which is lovely. And it draws in. So it's just a beautiful size. It does have a bit of a square bottom, not much, but enough for a sock. And it's a beautiful project bag. You could use it for anything though, because it's just beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. So that arrived today actually, and I was so pleased to see it coming in. It's gorgeous. So thank you, Conchetta. I absolutely love it. So that's it. A bit of a mismatch again. Knitting, no crochet, sewing, cross stitch, embroidery, and my plans for what I'm taking. I think what I will take with me, as I say, is the embroidery, the Lady Moon, and I will work on it in the plane. I have to be doing something when I'm flying. I can't just sit there. So I'll have a Disney movie on my phone, and I will do some embroidery, and I will take the sock, and if I get the Thea top, I might take some yarn to start the second one. And I know that I'm in Disney, and I know that I won't get time to do any of these things, but I need to have projects with me. So that's what's coming with me. So I will see you in 2 weeks' time. We're only away in Disney for a few days, so I will see you in 2 weeks. I hope you're well. I hope you're enjoying whatever it is that you're working on. And actually, just before I go, while you're watching this, put down below what it is that you're working on. Is it knitting? Is it embroidery? I know a few people had commented the last time to say, oh, I used to embroider, I haven't done it in years. You've given me, I've gone looking, I've gone into that rabbit hole that I went into. So tell me what you're working on down below, because it's really nice to see, and I love the inspiration. I know I don't need any more, as you can see, from all of the projects that you keep being shown, but I love having a look and picking up things that I don't normally find in my searches. So I'd love to know what you're working on down below, but I will see you next time. Bye!